Hi, this is Tim from DIYRabbitHutches.com, and this video is talking about Rabbit Hutch Designs, great ways to insulate your rabbit hutch. Do you live in an area that gets extremely cold? Are you looking for 6 effective ways to insulate your rabbit hutch? And this video will provide you with instructions on how to insulate your hutch permanently, and it will also give you temporary solutions to help you keep your hutch warm. Now, the main aim when insulating a rabbit hutch is to cover or line or separate with material that prevents or reduces leakage of heat from one outside environment to an inside environment. So we are trying to keep the cold air out and keep the warm air inside. And this is done with typically 2 walls, and inside there's a cavity or gap, and this is where we put our insulation when we're permanently installing insulation into a rabbit hutch. Builders do this in homes that we live in all the time. We think that rabbits deserve the same respect, and this allows them to live in a warmer environment but still stay outdoors, which is natural to a rabbit's habitat. So one way to do it is to simply cover or add layers to the hutch with a material that will repel the cold and hold in the warmth. So what material do we use to put inside this cavity? One material you can use is polystyrene for insulation. Adding a layer of plywood over the polystyrene will enhance its insulation ability. This combination of dense materials from the plywood timber walls and soft materials from the polystyrene is effective. If you're on a lower budget, you need some temporary insulation, you can try lining the walls with newspaper and then covering them with cardboard, or even you could put newspaper and cardboard on the inside, although this won't last as long. Wool is another option, but it's better used for the wall and roof linings as a more permanent solution, and is obviously very effective in fighting the cold and maintaining internal heat. I personally like to reuse old pillows, blankets, and old clothes such as a t-shirt or a jumper, as this saves money and recycles old materials that would normally be thrown out. We also need to consider the thickness of the insulation material that you're using and its density. It needs to be considered when you're doing your rabbit hutch designs, when you're actually building the rabbit hutch from scratch. We've found that the density of the insulation when using wool or clothes or an old cushion or old bed sheets is most effective when applied in moderation. If the packing in is too light or too heavy, the warmth is not retained as well as what I would call a medium level packing, and this is why polystyrene is also a good option, but it can also be more expensive. Now, one thing that we do need to mention with insulation is that the rabbit hutch design requires an enclosed area. Before insulating the rabbit hutch, one important part of the rabbit hutch design is to make sure that there is at least one practical room to insulate. So you can see in this pitch here, you've got a lower room which has mesh wire and the air can penetrate this, and that's like the play area for the rabbits, but also you've got an upstairs level with this ramp going up which is completely enclosed with wood. So you need to have at least one room with all 4 walls enclosed. If the room does not already have one, you should install a closable door, and you need to consider the best material to use in the door, as the rabbit should be able to push through it and enter and exit the room. Typically we've found doggy doors work well, however you need to be careful that your rabbits are not chewing the material on the doggy door, and part of that is training your rabbit and making sure that they get lots of chew exercise with other toys and foods. Now let's talk about insulation and the approach to a permanent solution. On each wall, this is how we do it, this is the approach. On each wall, start from the bottom of the wall and work your way up when putting the insulation. So first, when you're building a hutch, you build the inner wall of the rabbit hutch, or if you've pre-purchased a rabbit hutch and you still want to do this, using the existing rabbit hutch wall as the inner wall. Then we adhere the insulation to the outside wall with an appropriate glue, and then finally we add the outside layer of plywood layer. and it's this which really isolates the cold and heat from the outside wall and the inside wall. Now make sure that you cover up any gaps, cracks, holes, or any place that the cold air can penetrate when installing your own insulation. Remember, it's easy for small open spots to leak a surprising amount of chilly air and unwanted moisture. Also, try not to overpack the walls. It is the dense wood outer layer combined with the air pockets in the insulation material, the wood, polystyrene, old clothes or pillows, that deliver the best insulation results for your pet rabbit, because the air temperature finds it difficult to penetrate through these different densities. So as far as great ways to insulate your rabbit hutch goes, this concludes part 1, permanent insulation solution. Now please look out for part 2, temporary insulation solution, and also just remember to visit us at DIYRabbitHutches.com if you would like any more information on how to build a rabbit hutch designs, or rabbit hutch plans. Thanks for watching this video, and we hope to catch you in further videos that we release.